Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Sweet Tips here. What we have is an assortment of gold-filled material. And what I'm going to do in this video is show how to tell if it is in fact gold-filled. We're going to look at what gold-filled material actually is and how it's made. And then we're going to go ahead and clean up the gold-filled material and try to extract the pure gold from it in this video. Here we go. This is a book titled Refining Precious Metal Wastes by C.M. Hoke, H-O-K-E. This is page 67 of that book. And in the book, it describes what gold-filled material is. Here's a picture. And what we have is we have a coating of karat gold, a sheet of karat gold on the top and on the bottom of this little slab right here. And then we've got a thick bar of brass, and the two pieces of karat gold are bonded to the top and the bottom, heated up, and then it's put through some rollers. So rolled gold is in fact gold filled. They're one and the same. They put it through some rollers and bond the karat gold, the thick coating of karat gold, onto the thicker piece of brass, and that is how gold filled material is produced. That is what gold-filled material is. A thick coating of karat gold over a base metal, usually brass. I've selected a small lot to refine because it'll go quicker that way. And then we can do an accurate assessment of how much of a yield that we can expect from this gold-filled material. Now, this pocket watch, I think she paid 20 bucks for it at an estate sale. And this thing works. So I may just go ahead and list this on my eBay site and offer it up for bids. It's in good shape. The crystal is in good shape. The face isn't broken or anything. It's not dented. I don't see anybody's initials on it. Right here is a little slot. You can stick a screwdriver in there and open the back. And then there's another slot right here. You got to do this real careful. You don't want that screwdriver jabbing into the movement. And here's the movement. You can see it is in fact working. So what we'll do is we'll offer this one up for sale on my eBay site, and I'll put a link to that in the video description. The next item that I have here is a what is that, Hamilton men's wristwatch. It does have somebody's name on the back of it. It was probably a retirement type thing, but this thing works. Just give it a little wind here and it takes off. So it's a pretty decent movement with a case. I don't know if we should try to refine that or sell it or not. I may offer this one for sale on my eBay site as well. I'll put a link to this one in my eBay site. Right, the last pocket watch that I showed, I think we paid 70 bucks for this one at a shop, an antique shop. And this one's a little different in that the back doesn't pry off. There's no little slot to stick a screwdriver in here. And what it does is it screws off. Like so. There's the movement. This one doesn't work. It's seized up. And so if you look on here though, this tells us, let's see here. It says it's warranted for 20 years. And what does that mean? That means that this pocket watch, if you slide it in and out of your pocket multiple times every day for 20 years, it'll take 20 years before the thick coating of karat gold wears through and the brass starts shining. So this one's broke. We'll go ahead and take it apart and we'll use this gold-filled material in this batch of gold-filled scrap. Put this in a little bin over here. We'll take this apart and get it squared away and get it cleaned up. What we have here is a little piece, little bracelet, bangle bracelet. These things are usually fairly decent amount of gold in them. If you look down there, there's a marking. It says 1/20th gold filled that says 1/20th 12K GF. Right down here. Now, if you look at this thing, you can see that it's got some of the gold worn off inside where it has been worn frequently. So the gold content in this will be reduced due to that wear. We'll put it in here and include it with our batch of gold filled material. This watch here, I believe, is it's also got a double back on it. These that have the double backs like this is going to have more gold filled material, of course, than the ones that don't have the separate windows like this. This only has the case and the back to it. But these have 3 separate lids that fit on it, and each one of these is going to be gold filled. If you look on here somewhere, it's going to say warranted 20 years. That means it's a thick coating of karat gold over brass. We'll take the movement out of here and salvage the gold filled material. This one is a small watch, gold filled case. I'm not going to go through the trouble of opening it up. This here watch is gold filled. It says gold filled. I'm trying to get this thing to zoom in so you can see the gold filled marking on it. There it is right there. It says gold filled right up here. So we'll get that all cleaned up and get it ready. Also, it says gold filled on the band. 1/20th 12K gold filled. So the band is going to be gold filled as well. This piece, it's not marked, but it looks like gold filled material to me. This piece is unique in that it has no marking on the outside other than on the band right here, which says, let me see if I can find it. This is 1/20th gold filled. You see that? However, there's no marking on this watch. We paid 10 bucks for this thing. If you look, we bought it for 10 bucks, sight unseen, and it's worth 10 bucks just being gold filled. But when we took the back off, it was marked 14K gold. 14 karat gold. We paid 10 bucks for this thing. And so there's probably $150 worth of gold in that little watch right there. The band will be gold filled, and we'll put this karat gold in with our next batch of gold, karat gold scrap. Right up here, you can see where the karat gold is worn off, exposing the base metal. You can see the thick coating of karat gold right here. That's another way to tell if this is gold filled or not. If it was gold plated, you wouldn't have that layering effect right there. So we're going to go ahead and add this into our gold filled scrap for this refining. As you can see here, this band is steel, and I'll remove the steel parts and save the gold filled stuff and add it in here. These stems still have steel in them. They're still magnetic. And so what I'll do is I'll just hog these apart and get those steel stems out of there before I add it in here. And this one, I believe, has got some steel on it, so we want to exclude any of the steel before we put it into our nitric acid. And that's what we'll do. I'm going to go ahead and clean these up off camera. We'll get everything ready to go, and then we'll be ready to put this in some nitric acid. I'm going to show this piece right here, and if you look at it, right up here, it says gold, CONT, 0.025. And what that means is this gold-filled material is going to contain 2.5% pure gold by weight. We have our gold-filled material all cleaned up. All the steel springs and non-gold-filled stuff has been removed. And we're ready to process this. This is our scraps that we got out of there. This is all steel stuff. And I took it all apart and excluded it from the gold-filled material. So now let's get a weight on this and start processing our gold-filled material. Let's get a weight on this material. All cleaned up, ready to go. Looks like we've got 80.6 grams. All right, let's see. We've got 80.6 times 0.025. So we should pull 2 grams of pure gold out of this amount of gold-filled scrap. First step in any process like this is to burn a gold-filled material. Here we go. We've got 80.6 grams gold-filled material down here, and it takes roughly 3.5 milliliters of nitric acid per gram of gold-filled scrap. So it looks like we'll need about 282 milliliters of nitric acid to boil or to dissolve all the base metals out of here. I'm adding some distilled water. Now we'll dump the incinerated gold-filled material in here. I'm going to start the experiment by adding 300 milliliters of nitric acid to this beaker. I've got a nitric acid delivery apparatus set up with a separatory funnel. Make sure the valve is off. We're going to add 200 milliliters of the nitric acid to this separatory funnel. Now we'll slide the nitric delivery apparatus up into the fume hood. I'm going to put the delivery tube from my nitric delivery apparatus down inside the beaker, covered up. What I'll do is I'm going to put this on time lapse. Got the 100 milliliters of nitric in this beaker. What we'll do is add that right in. Then after that reaction calms down, I'll add a little bit of heat, keeping the heat off initially so it doesn't boil up over the top of the beaker. And then once we get to that point, once I've got this acid in, the reaction's calming down, I'll go ahead and start dripping the 200 milliliters of nitric acid from the nitric delivery apparatus down into the beaker. All right, I'm going to put it on time lapse and do all that right now. I've had this on boiling all afternoon, and What I'll do now is add a little bit of distilled water to this beaker, maybe about 50 milliliters. I'm going to add a little shot of nitric acid to this water. And now what we'll do is add this dilute nitric acid to our beaker up here, just as a precaution. And I'm just going to let this continue to boil until all the fumes clear up in there. Here we go. Add that dilute nitric right on in. This boiling in dilute nitric now for quite some time. I'm going to pull this down off the heat. And what I'll do is add some distilled water to dilute it and help cool it down. This ain't pulling through too bad. It's going pretty good so far. And here's our gold foils. That's what the gold foils look like. Inside the beaker, they're just thin shells of karat gold. Here's our gold foils. And what these are just shells of the karat gold that was bonded to the brass. We've dissolved all the bronze or brass now out of here. So now all we're left with are these little gold foils in the shape, somewhat, of what they used to be. This thing's out here with a little distilled water. Got everything rinsed off. Now what we'll do is got some hydrochloric acid. I'm preparing a little bit of ferrous sulfate back here. So we're going to add a little hydrochloric acid to that. And now what we'll do is grab our filter here. It's our material. We're going to put our filter in this melt dish. Here's our gold foils, the melt dish. What we'll do is we'll take this now. We're going to put it inside of this furnace. And go ahead and burn this. Incinerate it real good. That filter's been in here burning now for about 5 minutes, I guess. And it's not quite ready yet. I want everything nice and glowing red in that dish before we proceed. Let's see what we got now. It's been in there about 15 minutes. Oh yeah, that's glowing red. Turn the furnace off. Gonna reach in here and get our material. Set it up here on top. And let it cool down for a second. Got it to cool down somewhat. We're at 174 Fahrenheit, 78.8 Celsius. So now let's go ahead and get our gold-filled material down into this beaker. Carefully. Now what we'll do is add some hydrochloric acid. I'm only expecting 100 grams or 2 grams of gold here. So there's about 100 milliliters of hydrochloric acid. Now we're going to add a touch of sulfuric acid to precipitate out any lead that may be present. And then what we'll do is add some nitric acid to form aqua regia in here. And this should, there's 6 milliliters or 3 milliliters of nitric acid. I'm just going to put that, well, let's go with 6. What the heck? 6 milliliters of nitric acid. I'm going to put the lid on this thing and set this up on some heat and try to dissolve that gold. I think we've got all the excess nitric out of here now. We've got everything to dissolve. Down off the heat, let it cool down for a second. Look at the trash that's down in the bottom of the beaker. Looks like a couple of little pieces of gold left in there. That's okay. We'll just throw that in with our paper storage and cover it when we do our filter bakers. This was left in the filter. Those hunks of gold are big enough I can probably fish those out and add them to my next batch of carrot scrap. Let's go ahead and transfer this solution now down into this clean beaker. Let's go ahead and precipitate the gold with some SMB. Here we go. We're going to add a spoon of that right on in right now. Here we go. test, make sure we got everything to drop. That was 1 spoon of SMB. For the amount of gold we're talking here, we should have just about everything precipitated out. I'm going to add another spoon of SMB just to make sure we got everything to drop out of the solution. Let's do another status test. I think we got all the gold precipitated out now. All right, let's cover this up. I'm going to set it up here on some heat. And we're going to boil it and see if we can get it to settle out more quickly. That seems to have helped a great deal. By heating it like that, we'll get it to settle out in just a few minutes. Let's go ahead and pour this waste solution off now to our waste container. It's the first glimpse of our gold down in the bottom of this beaker. Oh, there's a little more than I was expecting in there. It's a nice surprise. Take it. That ain't bad. Look at that. It looks real good down in the bottom of the beaker. Nice. Alright, as usual, we're gonna boil it in just a little bit of hydrochloric acid. Set this up on the heat now. It's looking pretty good. So we'll get the light down here so we can look at it. Put it up on the heat and let it boil in some hydrochloric acid. Had it boiling in hydrochloric acid for a few minutes. I'm going to dump this off. Add some more hydrochloric acid to it. We're going to set this over here back on the heat. Let's put in a few drops sulfuric acid, just in case any lead has made it this far into our process. And then I'm going to hit it with some more nitric acid. We'll dissolve this gold a second time. Try to just use 3 milliliters this time. And see if we can get it to go into solution with just 3 milliliters of nitric acid. Got the gold to dissolve. Got all the excess nitric out of there. Down here, let it get cooled off. More look at it. It's a little bit cloudy, so what we'll do is go ahead and pour this solution back through the same filter a second time. See if we can get it to clear up a little bit. Bit of cloudiness. on the cloudy side. So we'll do it again. I thought I had this filtering nailed with the first pass, but something turned it cloudy, and it took 5 passes through the same filter paper before I finally got it to clear up and go clear and bright for me. I think we finally got it. That's what the filter's looking like. I'm just going to set this over here. We'll rinse that out later on and add it to the waste container. Right now what we'll do, got it cleared up nicely. Let's add this solution to a clean beaker. Stannous test. I'm going to use some ferrous sulfate for this precipitation. Check the solution with a little bit of on a piece of filter paper here. Check it with stannous. Make sure we got gold in solution. There you go. That dark stain means we got gold in solution. Looks pretty rich too. For a half a liter of solution, that's a pretty dark stain. All right, we're going to add our ferrous sulfate in now. Just going to pour it right in. Here we go. Stir. Test it with some stannous, make sure we've got everything to drop. See by that negative stannous test, all the gold has been precipitated. I'm loving this ferrous sulfate. It precipitates only the gold. It's very selective. Nothing else comes down but the gold. And it settles quickly. So now what we're going to do is pour this waste solution off. Alright, I'm going to add some hydrochloric acid. I'm going to boil it in a little hydrochloric acid for a few minutes. We'll start to spatter a little bit. Pull the gold down off the heat. Cool down. Gold really looks very nice color to it. You can tell it's high purity gold. Take and pour off this waste solution now. very finely divided. I think what we'll do now is just rinse it over and over with some hot distilled water. Alright, it don't get no prettier than that down in the bottom of that beaker. Here's our little bead of pure gold. We just got done refining that from that gold-filled scrap. And if you look up here, these two watches that I was going to offer for sale, one of them is running slow. The pocket watch is running slow. It runs, but it's running slow, so I'm not going to sell that. And the other one has someone's name inscribed on the back of it, so I'm not going to sell that. So I'm not going to list those on my eBay site. What we will list, though, is this little pure gold bead that we just got done refining from that gold-filled material. Let's see if gold-filled material is valuable or not. We were expecting 2 grams here. Let's see what we got. Looks like we got 3.1 grams of pure gold. And we'll offer this for sale on our eBay site. It looks awesome. 24K pure gold, probably 3.9's fine. Let's see what the yield was on that. So we're talking 3.1. We're going to divide that by 80.6, which is the material we started with. That gives us 0.038 or 3.8% from that gold-filled scrap. I was estimating 2.5%, but we got 3.8%. All right, we'll get this listed on my eBay site. I'd like to thank everybody for watching.